Iran's top negotiator says that an agreement has been reached with the US to release $12 billion in frozen Iranian assets. It comes after nearly 18 hours of intensive negotiations in Switzerland, mediated by Pakistan and Qatar. Tehran has also agreed to establish a line of communication to ensure safe passage in the Strait of Hormuz. Earlier, the US Treasury announced the temporary easing of sanctions to allow the sale of Iranian oil and petrochemical products until August 21st. Washington says the decision follows Iran's commitments to allow international nuclear inspections. Well, US President Donald Trump says any released Iranian assets will be used to buy American produce. Iran's central bank governor has rejected the comments and says that Tehran is not obliged to purchase agricultural inputs from the US.
We're doing very well in terms of negotiating a fair and reasonable deal. One of the things that we are doing also, and it came up last night, is money that's being unfrozen is going to be used to buy food, and the food's going to be bought exclusively through the United States from our farmers. And corn, soybeans, all of the things they need are going to be bought from our farmers. So our farmers are very happy. I've had a lot of calls. They were very happy about this.
We'll get reaction from Tehran in just a moment. But first, let's go to our chief US correspondent, Alan Fisher, who's at the White House. So, Alan, is this the beginning of a raft of sanctions that the US will now begin to lift?
Well, the whole idea, of course, is sequencing, and we see that in a lot of peace deals around the world. You do this, then this happens. And the Americans said that right at the very beginning. The idea is that as the Iranians hit what's been described as targets or benchmarks, then they'll get more access to money that has been frozen around the world. And in the United States, they will also be able to access the world financial systems. Those sanctions will be removed slowly. Now, this is a big deal with the oil sanctions being removed, because up until this point, the Iranians sold oil, but they sold at a huge discount because many companies, many countries didn't want to fall the wrong side of American sanctions. Now they can actually sell their oil at full market rates, and that's a huge boost for the Iranian economy. Now, the intention is, of course, that we reach a deal where all the sanctions will disappear, but we'll only get confirmation of that if we get to a final deal that is finally sent to the United Nations for approval by a Security Council resolution.
Alan, let's bring in Al-Mighdad Al-Ruhaid, who joins us live from Tehran. What's Iran's chief negotiator saying about the unlocking of these frozen funds?
Well, actually, this is a very crucial point for Iranian. We have seen this demand as a central Iranian demand for relieving sanctions and frozen assets. And actually, in a couple of hours ago, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, the top negotiator, he was in an interview in State TV, and he said a very important message about this frozen asset. He said, and I'm having a taste from what he has said. He said that under Article of 11th, two separate amounts of $6 billion each will be released. Preliminary arrangements had already been made during the trip to Qatar. We have known that there was a trip on Qatar a couple of weeks ago, but the final signing had to take place during the Switzerland visit, which was completed. So this is what he had to say on the Iranian TV, and he said that Article 10, it concerned the sale of crude oil, petrochemicals and their derivatives, as well as banking, insurance and transportation issues. So he actually explained every single details about this memorandum of understanding regarding the frozen assets and sanctions. And actually this is being as an integral part for Iranian to move forward with American regarding the memorandum of understanding.
Al-Mighdad, let's go back to Alan in Washington. Just before he left Switzerland, Vice President J.D. Vance said that Iran has also made concessions on the nuclear issue. What's he been saying?
Well, of course, that's one of the key demands from the United States side, that Iran agrees to never have a nuclear weapon, not now, not ever. And that's why J.D. Vance was there to start these talks off, because they all feel that this is the first issue that has to be addressed by the United States and by Iran, and then they can move on to things like the enriched uranium, sanctions, Strait of Hormuz, all of those sort of things. But JD Vance believes that there has been a breakthrough, it's been significant, and that the Iranians have agreed to inspectors to allow them back into the country to monitor their nuclear ambitions.
We have the Iranians allowing weapons inspectors, nuclear inspectors into their country for the first time in a long time. We're obviously going to bolster that inspection regime to make sure they can never have a nuclear weapon. And finally, we continue to make progress on these technical negotiations. We left a lot of our team, the Iranians left a lot of their team at the resort there to keep on working at it. So all in all, a very productive 36 hours. We're going to have to keep working it. The last point that I'll make is, as I told you all this morning, this is laying a foundation for what could be a truly transformed Middle East. But we haven't built the house yet. We're going to have to keep on building, and that's what we'll do.
Well, here's the thing. The Iranians say that there's no change to the idea of letting inspectors come into the country. They have their rules, and that hasn't changed perspective at all. So we're going to see a lot of this over the next 50-odd days or so. One country claiming that one thing has been agreed, the other country disputing that's the case. We've heard it from Donald Trump in the past when he's dismissed some of the things that the Iranians have talked about. We've heard it from JD Vance, who said you can't always believe everything that comes out of either the Iranian media or the Iranian government. They're working away. The mediators are still there. The technical experts are there. JD Vance will go back if there's a breakthrough on key issues. There's obviously still a lot to talk about, but it's clear that we'll only know what both sides have actually agreed to when we see the final text of any agreement.
Yeah, let's put that to Al-Mighdad in Tehran. What is the government saying about the nuclear inspectors? How amenable will it actually be as far as allowing them back is concerned?
Adrian, from what we have learned here from Iranian is that the nuclear file will be discussed on the 60-day periods of negotiations between American and Iranian, but it could be discussed in the behind the closed doors in the Switzerland talks. But from what we understand on the latest from the Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baqai said that cooperation with the agency he referred to IAEA will continue under existing safeguards arrangements and in accordance with the decisions taken by the Parliament and the Supreme National Security Council. And actually, we have seen this point raised within the memorandum of understanding, making a clear concession or a clear commitment actually about the nuclear file. They are not seeking a nuclear weapon, but at the same time regarding the inspector and the stockpile of highly enriched uranium inside the country, they are setting a very firm and red lines regarding that. They are not lock the door for the IAEA, but at the same time they are making no concessions regarding the nuclear file at the time being. They are phasing negotiations regarding this sensitive political issues between Iranian and Americans.
Al Jazeera's Al-Mighdad Al-Ruhaid, live in Tehran, and our chief US correspondent Alan Fisher at the White House. Thanks to you both. Mediators Qatar and Pakistan have released a statement on the talks between the US and Iran. They described the summit as positive, constructive, and one that made encouraging progress. Well, this is what that first day of talks achieved. The US and Iran agreed on creating a high-level committee to oversee the roadmap for a final deal within 60 days and the immediate launch of technical talks. Negotiations will continue for the rest of the week in Bergenstock in Switzerland.